back. Baby.
12:39 from AM 1430 WBEV, streaming online at dailydodge.com. Time now for today's community comment. Here's your host, Craig Warmbull.
And our guest on community comment today is the mayor of the city of Beaver Dam, Becky Gluen. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me last minute here, Craig. Appreciate it.
It was all very last minute. In fact, we just got this all worked out late last night. This was all kind of unexpected. It seemed like it was a good opportunity to, even though you've just been here about 2.5 weeks ago, we had so many things to cover on the last program,
right,
that one of the main things we're going to talk about today is just something that we only had a few minutes to dedicate to last time, but it's coming up for a vote on Monday, and I know you wanted to give our listeners and the public an opportunity to get a more thorough understanding of everything and ask some questions if need be. Unfortunately, our terrestrial listeners, as we'll call them on AM 1430 WBEV, are not able to join us on the program today because we have some issues with the broadcast that we're looking into.
Okay.
So
they'll have to pick it up later?
They'll have to pick it up later, either online at dailydodge.com, or we can say hello to those who are listening to us and watching us on dailydodge.com under either the audio tab or just the straight up WBEV feed, we should say. But you can also go, if you're listening to WBEV, we are also video streaming. And you can go to the video tab and you'll be able to pick up the video stream from there. You'll still be able to call in all you want. Apparently our phone lines are working, but you don't have to hesitate to call in at 920-885-4446 if you've got questions about the main topic that we're going to be talking about today, or any other things that are going on in the city of Beaver Dam. It'll probably be about 6 weeks minimum before we sit down with you again here. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and talk about the agenda for Monday. Has a couple items that are related to beautification ordinances, which you've kind of been in the process of looking at in the city here. Frame the story for us, if you would. Frame this whole thing.
Well, let's just start with the concept of this being called a beautification. Okay, I don't know where that came from, but I'll really just say this is about, responsibility and taking care of your property and compliance ordinances that have been in place over 20 years. And so all we are doing are reevaluating some of those, and then and looking where there are issues and trying to strengthen and do better wording on some of those that are places of problems that we have seen. So, which is recommended every 3 years to actually be going through ordinances and reevaluating those. So there's a international code council that actually works to do like commercial building code, which is really important, of course, because of safety reasons, right? And they also do put together compliance types of code compliance types of issues that they share as well. And then communities everywhere put these into place. So anyway, this is really just a reevaluation of where we're at, and some of the changes that we have made are just changing some of the verbiage to include some additional areas of problems that we've noticed, and then also just to strengthen that a little bit. So all of these things are already addressed by our inspector. In fact, he works with, I think he said 13 communities, and does the same thing for other communities and townships as well. And so, yeah, we're kind of doing that right now.
Coming for a vote before the council on Monday.
Yep.
Monday evening. Let's maybe take a look at a couple of these then.
Sure.
It looks like the first ordinance that would come before the council will be ordinance number, and these are ordinance changes as you indicated.
Right.
There's no new ordinances
No.
here, but these are updates. There's some whole sections that are added in some places. It seems like some paragraphs, some stuff stricken. Some stuff added, and folks can follow us along here if they want at home. You can go to the City of Beaver Dam website, and you guys have the city code in its entirety
Right.
Up there as it currently stands. In fact, I don't think I'd noticed this before, on the right-hand side of that particular web page that's linked off the City of Beaver Dam website, you also have a list of all the recent ordinance changes. So it's really easy to see what has changed recently in city ordinance and everything like that. And then the actual agenda has been released for Monday as well, which is on the City of Beaver Dam website as well. Click under the agendas tab, and if you have questions, but maybe we're not reading something in its entirety, or if you're confused about something, you could feel free to look at either one of those resources here. So parking of vehicles on residential use properties is one of the agenda items that we're looking at here. Tell us about some of the changes that you've got proposed here.
Well, basically, like I said, it's just kind of putting together more, just being a little bit more specific. What we've noticed is, I think about 10 years ago or so, they started to allow parking on, if you had a gravel area in your yard. And so what happens is that we've noticed and had a lot of individuals, adding some gravel and now having quite a number of individuals parking in front yards. And so this is just putting in a line to kind of address that, in saying, we have to be parked on the location on the side or in a driveway.
So now I looked at this as a continuation, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because this was a little bit before your time. I looked at this as a continuation of what your predecessor, Tom Kennedy, had laid out, which was an effort to address vehicles parking on lawns.
Right.
Originally.
Right.
And I forget how many years ago that this was put in place, 5, 6, 7, 8 years
Yeah.
ago. And as a result of it, basically the mayor at that time said, this looks bad. We can't have cars parking on lawns. I called it a beautification ordinance back then. I don't, to address the beautification thing, it seems like an industry standard. I didn't really think twice about it. It just seems like when you have things like this, you call them a beautification ordinance.
Yeah.
There was a number of beautification ordinances passed at that time. In addition to this, there was beautification ordinances that prevented temporary tents, like over driveways and things like that are made out of plastic and things like that. And this was one of those that came out of that kind of round of beautification ordinances several years ago under Kennedy. Can't park on the lawn anymore. So it seemed like the logical progression from that was, well, if we can't park on the lawn, then maybe let's turn our lawn into, as you were saying, a gravel driveway or a paved driveway in some cases. Maybe an unforeseen kind of result of that.
Exactly. And sometimes that's what happens when, you put something into place and you think you've addressed things, and then you learn. And that's why the International Code Council recommends that these types of things are looked at every 3 years, because issues do come up, and people realize that. And so then those are supposed to be readdressed so that you can take care of, we didn't really think about that, you could, what I would call maybe a little bit of a loophole, and that it still creates this problem. So now how can we readdress it? And I didn't mean to jump on you for saying beautification, but there's this crossover on saying, wow, we're looking at beautification of downtown, and the beautification of this. And really, I guess, so to me it is, this is like, aesthetics. I think we've talked about a number of times. They matter. If you look at businesses, I just went to Metalcraft of Mayville. They had an amazing Manufacturing Business Alliance, you look at what they're doing and providing for employees. They put in a whole new patio area, outdoor space for people. I was just at WDS Construction and the space that they provide for their employees, because it does matter. And more businesses, as we meet with them, are talking about it really matters on what we look like as a company to attract workers. Well, it's the same thing for the city. Those types of things matter, and whether you think that's a great thing or not. I mean, it might seem simple, but yeah, it really does matter. So
I mean, you essentially ran on this.
I did. Yeah, you're right. Yep, I ran on all of these types of issues and saying that, and exactly, I did.
So the parking. The idea is to. What's the underlying idea here? What's the underlying concern?
Well, when you talk about, first of all, when you talk about cars on pervious ground is not good either, because of the possibility of vehicles, of course, leaking immediately into the ground. And I think that's where initially it was thought, well, if you have a gravel, that would help with some of that. But we want to make sure first that environmentally that's not a sound practice, but also you get into the, I guess, more and more of this occurring, and it detracts from the attractiveness of communities. And so we're looking at, when you talk about all the issues that we're looking at and facing in the community and how do we tackle these issues, there's a number of things, not just in appealing to a new groups of people to come in and that attractiveness, but also by the care that we take for our community in the interior and the properties, does it attract individuals that want to take advantage of crime and the whole drug scene? You can't tackle the opioid problem with one piece. It's multiple facets, and rundown properties is definitely a piece that makes people more comfortable in feeling like that's okay. And so that's another piece of it. I mean, there are multiple ways that we need to look at all of these issues in our community.
And there's a kind of a public health component, at least sticking on the driving aspect, the parking aspect, I should say, in terms of, you mentioned in here that the area may be paved with concrete, cement pavers. It says Rick, I think you mean rock, asphalt, shale, gravel, crushed rock, or other materials, and that it should be 4 inches in thickness. And that's to address the concerns that you were kind of mentioning right now when it comes to environmental concerns and things like that. The other component of this is then the perpendicular.
Right, I know. I guess that seemed a little odd to people, that they've had some comments to me about that. Again, it's just all of these ordinances, when I say, you need to review these, okay, we have, again, it's not something that we know of an issue. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about, well, how do we address this? And then research is the first step. So we've had meetings over the last 6 months with staff and our inspectors, one of those individuals, our attorney, another, in looking at all of these ordinances. And then let's compare to other communities and what they're doing and pull out. So our inspector did a lot of research in finding what are other communities doing to address this, and what kind of verbiage do we need to tighten up a little bit of here. So anyway, looking at, and we kind of argued back and forth, is it parallel or perpendicular? But anyway, we talked about, again, just the appearance of pulling in, in front of the house, and how that appears opposed to alongside the house. So those were just some of the things that we addressed and looked at other communities and looked to see what they were doing and pulled from that.
Am I correct in assuming what I was saying about the previous mayor and the lawn resulting in a lot of these pads being put in? That's kind of where the problem started then.
Correct. Right. And again, like you had said, I mean, unforeseen. Thought, we were doing a good thing maybe at that time and how to address this, but we are realizing then that it's just kind of continued to escalate in the number of individuals that are doing that.
So does this ordinance grandfather in houses that may have already done that?
No.
No? Okay.
no.
So what would be the recourse there for somebody who's already gone through that process?
Yeah, so somebody that has that, so that is a process of going back to a lawn in that area is what we're looking at.
Okay.
There are, the inspector will work on talking with individuals if there's special cases that need to be addressed. But for the most part, we're looking at that should be no parking in your front yard.
What would be a special circumstance? What would be an example of a special
Oh,
circumstance?
I had one individual, I just went out to go look at property, and they had a driveway that was like next door, and it was a different situation, and it really was not, it's in the front of the house, but not, it's to the side, but kind of still in the front. Anyway, it would maybe where you would look at this and go, well, that's not gonna, that wouldn't work, but actually, it's not what we're trying to address. And I talked it over with the inspector, and I said, what about this situation? We both looked at it, and we just both came to the conclusion, that's not really what we're trying to address. So there are going to be case-by-case situations. And I just want to say, we have an outstanding city inspector with John Moosreiner. He's very good about taking everything into consideration, and I think he's very careful about that. And also we have, of course, an appeal process. People can come and talk to the city, and if they really disagree.
So would it be correct to say then that you are looking at some of those single car driveways where they installed that pad?
Correct.
You
Well, not concrete. That's fine.
Oh, if they put a concrete pad where their front yard is, that would be okay?
Right, we're not going to make people take concrete out.
Not gonna make people take concrete out. Well, with gravel, would that be
right.
something you would want people to, so if it's concrete, would you be grandfathered in, or would you have to talk to the building inspector for a waiver?
I believe the concrete would be just grandfathered in then, yeah.
And again, this is proposed and everything like
Right,
that. So,
right.
Up for a vote on Monday. So, but they would not be, they would be asked to no longer then use that as a parking area?
Correct.
If it is a concrete pad?
No.
It could be a patio, it could be,
If it's concrete, it's kind of already in place, and although we don't have a lot of those situations, so
Right.
it's going to be a few of those individuals. So we have determined that rather than make someone take that out, that would be, something that would be grandfathered in, but it wouldn't be accepted moving forward.
right.
Yeah,
Right, yeah,
yeah.
okay, so, so people, and, there's not a lot of them. I have a single car driveway, so I notice all the other single car driveways out there, and you'll see a couple of them on North Spring Street, for example. So, those homeowners don't have to worry about, being ordered to remove a concrete slab and then pay $100 for a return, and then another 100, we'll talk about the penalty phase later, but that wouldn't necessarily be something
Correct.
that would be a concern for any of those homeowners.
Right.
Under that scenario. So the parking of vehicles on residential properties, one of the kind of the bigger ones, along with the before we get to the compliance stuff. Let's see what time the clock says here. Ooh, we're getting close to that one. Maybe we
Yeah.
shouldn't start a whole new line of discussion. But
Want to go in general?
yeah, well, we'll take a break here, and we'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about the zoning junk and debris complaints, and then maybe try to wrap everything up with and then the maintenance of exteriors and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Sounds good.
We'll take a look at that, and then we'll talk about the fees that may come with inspections and stuff
Sure.
like that. The phone number is 920-885-4446 if you've got a question. The guest is Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Gluen. The show is community comment. The way we're delivering this is today all over dailydodge.com at WBEV Radio and also under the video tab. If you're just listening to us and you want to chime in, you're already on an internet connection, please feel free to go to the video tab, and you'll be able to take advantage of the video stream there as well. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
And I like it, I love it, I want some more of it.
You like me? You really like me?
You can now like Daily Dodge on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/Daily Dodge and hit the like button to get the latest local news, videos, events, and more. Everything you love about Dodge County and everything you need to know. Like Daily Dodge on facebook.com/Daily Dodge.
The next WBEV WXRO Broad Fry will be Tuesday, June 19th at Quality Cellular at Monarch Plaza on North Spring Street, right next to Rechex. Come and get a Pernat Premium Brat and a soda for just $1.50. That's Tuesday, June 19th at Quality Cellular in Beaver Dam. You can also grab a bottle of Nicolay Natural Water for just $1 at every Broad Fry. For a complete Broad Fry schedule, you can always visit dailydodge.com.
Come and enjoy the Taste of Wisconsin beer and cheese tasting event on Saturday, June 16th from noon until 4 in downtown Beaver Dam. Advance tickets are $30. Ticket includes a souvenir tasting glass, souvenir program with evaluation for every beer and cheese at the event, a wide variety of Wisconsin beers and cheeses to taste, along with live music. Get your ticket at the Beaver Dam Chamber, Piggly Wiggly, Rechex Food Pride, and Verlo Mattress, or go to www.tasteofwisconsin.net.
Kirschbaum Strawberry Acres wants to put $150 cash into your pocket this summer. Find the hidden strawberry on one of the pages on dailydodge.com and fill out the registration form, now through June 25th. You must be 18 or older to register to win and may register once per day. Weekly winners will receive a strawberry pie baked by Edith's Cake and Catering. Register now through Monday, June 25th to win the grand prize of $150 cash.
The musical comedy hit of the summer is now playing at the Fireside Theater. Church Basement Ladies 2, A Second Helping.
Everyone knows the church basement lady.
That's right, the Church Basement Ladies are back in the basement. This time around, the year is 1969 and the world is changing.
Mrs. Snewstad, are you happy with how your life turned out?
Happy? We're Lutheran. Happiness has nothing to do with it.
The Fireside Theater in Fort Atkinson presents the new musical comedy, Church Basement Ladies 2, A Second Helping.
Pastor, we were just talking about how men do not belong in the kitchen.
Oh, well. Pastor's not a man.
He doesn't even have a pickup. Every ticket to the Fireside includes a superb dinner prepared by award-winning chefs, a chance to visit their spectacular gift shops, and plenty of free parking. Order your tickets now. Call 800-477-9505 or visit firesidetheater.com. Church Basement Ladies 2, A Second Helping, only at the Fireside Theater.
Columbus Community Hospital, well into the future. Need a hip replacement? The average stay of Columbus Community Hospital is 1.8 days. Columbus Community Hospital, building a caring relationship, one patient at a time.
At Reed Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Beaver Dam, we are a second-generation family-owned business that has been in the Beaver Dam community for over 25 years. Our goal is to make the process of buying a vehicle fun again. No pressure, no hassle, just quality customer service from our friendly and experienced sales staff. So give us an opportunity the next time you're in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle. The worst that can happen is we shake hands and part as friends, and if you catch us on the right day, you can enjoy one of Mom's amazing homemade cookies. Let our family take care of your family at Reed Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Beaver Dam.
101 from AM 1430 WBEV. Beaver Dam, take advantage of the Countryside Ford Quick Lane Works package. Oil change, tire rotation, and free inspection, $39.95. No appointment necessary. Available Monday through Saturday. And make sure to stop in for an AC check, too. Countryside Ford, 330 Transit Road in Columbus. Time now for more of today's community comment. Here again is your host, Craig Warmbold.
And our guest is the mayor of the city of Beaver Dam. We're taking a look at the ordinances that are going to be before the Common Council on Monday that address some property maintenance issues in the city, some maintenance of exterior issues, some parking matters. The phone number, if you've got a question, is 920-885-4446. And I understand we've got a caller hanging on the line. We'll begin this segment by going to the phones and saying, good afternoon. Welcome to Community Comment.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My question is this going to be all properties, include commercial?
Yes. Well, it's the property values of residential and commercial neighborhoods in the city. Mm-hmm.
And that's in the existing ordinance?
That's in the existing. Yeah, we already have ordinances in place for that.
Why don't we enforce it like Pick and Save and all these junkyards that are around the city?
Well, there's different zoning, and so what's allowed on different properties according to zoning is different. And so, having things sit outside the property depends on what kind of zone it's in. I will say we are working at that. That's why we want to implement some of these things to make these things a little bit, to have some teeth, I guess, on the back end of it when we have situations so that we can deal with it. Right now, the fine is the inspector comes, he talks to an individual, sends them a letter, and then warns them that they're going to have a $100 fee if they don't take care of this. Now the inspector can come and subsequently it goes up to $400, I believe. What we're finding, especially with multi-homes with landlords, is that we have a lot of absentee landlords that live out of the area, and $100 just doesn't matter. And so we need to be able to work with these individuals in a little different way. For the most part, everybody is fine. This isn't, we're not looking at ordinances to come after everybody and say, you need to do, you've got this little corner that's not taken care of or something. It's really put into place so that when we have problem properties, that we have something to follow up with and handle it.
We need to rewrite the commercial because nobody's doing anything. There's 10 properties in town that sit vacant and nobody does anything. They're junk all over.
Yeah.
Why don't we add this to the ordinance?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think maybe if that's what we need to do, then yeah, that's what we need to do. And you make a good point, and certainly we can take a look at that. And I'll follow up in asking, when I have asked in the past, because I have, it's more related to what, the zoning that this particular property would be in, and those types of things are allowed or not allowed. So maybe we need to look at, if we can change what is allowed or not allowed, so.
Well, you would save time and effort if you tied that all into one and have one vote on it.
Right. But we don't. This is what we're putting forward right now. But certainly, ordinances, need to be reevaluated all the time. So as we're moving forward, we're going to continue to look at all ordinances that we have in place to make those relevant now. Absolutely.
So currently, you have a storefront downtown where the awning is actually broken off, and nothing's being done. Why?
Well, because we wanted to put this into place. This is why we're putting this into place, because those types of situations, we've had conversations about those types of situations, because we want to tighten this up and then have this in place first before we start to address those things. But the inspector, myself, and Attorney Schacht and others, we've addressed that, and this is why we're putting that into place, because exactly we want to take care of some of those things.
But that's a business, and you're only voting on residential.
No, this will cover that as well. This will be able to cover and use the change in fining for that purpose.
It does seem like it's, you talked about the zoning, and I'm a little confused about that, but it does say residential and commercial. What it doesn't say is industrial. So is that the
Correct.
Component that we're talking about here?
Right.
Which is,
Yes,
might
that
be,
too.
Right, which might not be, so.
Can we just not add wording in there that says industrial?
Well, I think that it has its own, different setup, because a foundry certainly is going to be, different than, a commercial business where you have someone coming in to buy tennis shoes. That's just what I'm thinking of at the top of my head. I'm not an expert in this, but just what we've worked on so far, this will address properties of what we're talking about with commercial anyway.
And to speak to the caller's question about the awning in the downtown, but the way the ordinance is currently written, you don't have the ability to go after an issue like that?
Well,
but with this you would?
I think we would be able to, it's just that we wanted to be able to put together something that had a little bit more teeth to it so that when we, because we've had a number of discussions and there hasn't been movement on certain properties. And so this way, when we put these things in place, now we can address them and just be ready to go.
Okay. Thank you very much for that call. You have any more questions, caller? I do believe that we just got an answer with that. 920-885-4446, the question. The phone number if you've got a question for Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Gluen. So we're looking at maintenance of exteriors as being another area where there are some changes. There's a lot of verbiage added and things like that. One of the key things that we seem to that kind of jumped out at me was the use of what was it, in good repair. It pops up quite a bit when you're talking about fences, when you're talking about accessory buildings and structures, overhang extensions, decorative features, exterior walls, roofs, in good repair. What does in good repair mean?
Well, certainly it's keeping everything maintained structurally, sound safety, and also in good repair so that it's not falling apart, and so that we're not seeing a deterioration of these pieces. I think that if you look at properties and the importance of neighbors, and when you live in the country, you know, there's at least an acre of land that each house sits on, and here we have 4 or 5 homes on an acre. Certainly, keeping properties up to date and in good repair is important to your neighbor as well. So, you know, we have, it's more specific as far as roof coverings shall be in good repair. So, you know, I guess you would look at that and saying that there wouldn't be tears or free from wear and storm damage and missing components. That's where we're addressing again some of the pieces that the caller called about. Roof drainage shall be adequate to prevent dampness or deterioration in the walls or interior portion of the structure. We're talking here about, you know, that addresses, you know, your drainage and not affecting your neighbor, but also affecting interior property. We've got a number of apartments that just quite frankly, we don't feel they're adequate for homeowners. And so we want to help individuals as far as we need the apartment owners to make sure that they're keeping those maintained. Free from obstructions. Roof water shall not be discharged in a manner that creates a public nuisance. That's to address your neighbor and make sure that it's not draining to the neighbor. So I guess all of those things would be addressed in that type of topic.
Structurally sound, that term is also used more than it was in the current ordinance, in the proposed ordinance.
Right.
And that goes back to,
Goes
that's
back
a public
to
safety thing.
Right, goes back to safety. And if you have property that's not taken care of as far as even wood, you know, being, getting soft and being a structurally safety concern. And then it's just appearance-wise, but mostly, you know, too, we do need to be concerned about safety first.
And some of these things on their surface may not seem like public safety measures, but maybe there is a public safety component that people aren't seeing. The firewood storage, which is a new language that was added into the ordinance. What's the reasoning there?
Well, I think mainly that is more related to appearance. Again, living 4 or 5 individuals living on 1 acre and having just a wood pile piled up in your backyard. And you know, we've seen more and more. I think it's become more of an issue and more complaints about it because more people are going to wood, burning stoves. And so they're looking at it more and more people are adding it. And so then it becomes just an eyesore. Again, if you live out in the country, you have more space. People aren't noticing it as easy. But when you live right next door to someone and you're looking out your window at the back, you know, out the window, and you're noticing these types of things, they become an issue.
Well, what is it you're trying to stop there? I guess maybe I didn't.
Try the firewood stack?
Right, yeah.
Well,
Is it-
again, appearance.
Are people is that something people do? I've seen the driveway thing and
Yep,
that, I've
yep.
seen that, but, I guess I don't, somebody said something about piles of
Right.
firewood. Is that a thing that people do?
It is.
I don't know.
It is,
Okay.
yeah. So it's, like I said, we get complaints about that because it's an eyesore to the neighbors, so. And so and that's something that we already take care of. So again, all of these things are already being addressed, and our inspection services, he does address wood piles. He just handles it in the nuisance more area right now. And so that's another area that can be used for some of these issues. When you look at, again, at the International Code Council, they can specify, you can address it in either of those areas. But, so we're just putting it into this ordinance as well now, so it's more specific. But he already does address that and go to homes and talk to people about that and making sure that wood piles are stacked.
And the nuisance component of that, if it's not, 3 inches off the ground, then you have to worry about.
Then you have rot, then you have varmints, right? And you're attracting things to the neighborhood that, again, we want out in the country, but not necessarily in our backyards.
All right. 920-885-4446 is the phone number if you've got a question for Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Gluen. The fees have been changed a little bit. We want to talk about that fee structure and how it applies to some of these new ordinances. But we should maybe take a break first before we get into that. The phone number again, 920-885-4446. The guest, Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Gluen. We'll take a break and be back here in just a few minutes.
Did you know that the power that made the body heals the body? Hi, this is Dr. Jen from Chiropractic USA. And the power that built your body inside your mother's womb is the same power that rebuilds all of your body parts, cell by cell, every single day. This power can be compromised by misalignments in your spine. My job as a chiropractor is to locate these misalignments and then realign the spine to release that healing power. Regular chiropractic care can change your life by increasing the expression of that power. We have seen incredible changes in our patients over the years. Some of them didn't even know that they had misalignments, but I could tell by observing their posture. Posture is the window to the spine, so after a set of x-rays revealed misalignments, we got to the business of correcting the problem and spared them from future health issues. That is the only true preventative health care there is. Call my office or visit my website, chiropracticusa.net, to schedule your checkup today. You may not think you need a chiropractor, but your spine and nerves do. For optimal health, I'm Dr. Jen.
Hi, Dave over at Slumberland Furniture, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, your Tempur-Pedic superstore. You know, it's no secret that Tempur-Pedic mattress owners love their beds. In fact, they love telling other friends and relatives how that mattress has changed their life, the way they sleep, and how they feel. Do you know that Tempur-Pedic has the highest owner satisfaction rating of any traditional mattress and box spring? That's right. Tempur-Pedic owners rate the sleep quality 3 times higher. Tempur-Pedic is the U.S. mattress brand most likely to be recommended. Tempur-Pedic is rated #1 in comfort and sleep satisfaction and back support. Tempur-Pedic is rated the #1 brand most likely to be bought again. Tempur-Pedic owners say they wake up more refreshed and have more daytime energy than owners of traditional mattresses and box springs. Slumberland guarantees the lowest prices on Tempur-Pedics. Slumberland, you're going to love this store.
Slumberland, behind McDonald's on the north side of Beaver Dam.
For the latest local news online anytime for free, log on to dailydodge.com. Brought to you by Vita Park Eye Associates, John Deere Horicon Works, and American Bank.
Tune into AM 1430 WBEV for coverage of the Milwaukee baseball game this Sunday and listen for the Columbus Family Dental Mystery Player of the Game. Listen to the morning show on WBEV the following Monday. Be the correct number caller when we ask who was the Columbus Family Dental Mystery Player of the Game. Get it right and you will win 2 tickets to a Milwaukee baseball game. Be sure to listen this Sunday for the Milwaukee Baseball Mystery Player of the Game, brought to you by Columbus Family Dental.
Gates Collision Centers, formerly Falby Collision, offers 70 combined years of quality repairs and world-class customer service. Gates offers free pickup and delivery and free replacement vehicles on site. Visit gatescollision.com.
In the month of June, with every food purchase at Rock River Tap Bar and Grill in Horicon, you'll receive a no-peak envelope that gives you a chance to win great prizes, including a 32-inch TV, pizza for a year, and more. But no peeking. You have to bring the unopened envelope back in July or August to see what you have won. So head to Rock River Tap every day of the month of June and get your no peeking prize envelope with dine-in food purchases. Rock River Tap Bar and Grill, Horicon. 17 minutes after 1 o'clock from AM 1430 WBEV, streaming online at dailydodge.com. Time for more of today's community comment. Here again is your host, Craig Warmbull.
And our guest is Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Gluen. The phone number, if you've got a question or a comment on this topic or other topics, is 920-885-4442. We're talking about a series, I called them beautification ordinances before. You're not necessarily a big fan of that word. They're ordinances that address some of the...
be a good neighbor.
Good neighbor ordinance, you want to call it, sure. But they do address some of the aesthetic kind of residential and commercial structures,
structure,
in the city.
Safety also, right?
Right.
But some with the aesthetic, yes.
Right, and the structural
Yep.
safeties, what's the term that we said was used in here quite a bit? Structurally sound.
Structurally sound.
There's a lot more wording that addresses that. The new wording that I caught was in good repair. And I ask you about that because one of the things I've learned from this council, covering them over the years, is that they don't like vague language that could be open to interpretation. And it does seem like in good repair might be one of those that isn't specific. It just kind of suggests a state of mind. Are you concerned about that? Did you?
Again, looked at multiple communities and what multiple communities were doing and taking, and John really worked from those. Certainly, if there are suggestions, that's Monday night, we can have amendments made to strengthen or change that. That would be fine. But again, I think when you're taking in, he took and worked from multiple other communities. I think, you're coming up, nothing's perfect, I guess, but he was coming up with what he found to be the best language.
Do you know which other communities
I do.
it's been modeled after?
I do. So we looked at a number. Some of the bigger ones that were highlighted here. I got to find them because I thought I had them written down here. Oh, yeah. Kenosha, Wauwatosa, Watertown, Waupun. We worked closely with the city of Oconto. They have been working with this, and they worked to what I had talked about a number of months ago already. And we've talked about this a number of times when I've been on the radio, that this was coming, that we were working on these things. But one of the biggest components from our inspector was he kept saying, we have to make sure that we have resources for individuals that might be struggling. And we are looking again at this aging population, and a lot of people want to be able to age in place. And so we have to maybe offer opportunities for individuals for financing some of these things. John, like I said, is very careful about looking at situations and talking to individuals and setting up timetables and trying to figure things out for people. So again, all along, he was very much focused on what opportunities can we give to people. And so that's when we started talking to Oconto. We had a number of conference meetings with them and talking about what they've done. They shared resources with us, and that's where we connected with the USDA. They have a lot of opportunities for individuals that need financial assistance. And so they are very excited to come to Dodge County. We've had them here a couple of times, we had them here just that one day, but they did a couple of sessions at that time, advertised it, radio, newspaper, and sent information home with kids at school. And we had almost 40 individuals from the community participate in those sessions. So a lot of information went out. We're going to bring them back again to share some more information. But as we look at this and its importance to our community, again, overall, and how we're portraying ourselves is being able to offer those resources to people. So John now can say, I'm concerned about these things, but here's some resources for you, and let me help you with timetable and setting up. And so, like I said, the USDA is one option, and then we also have a community development block grant. let me go back to the USDA. They have a grant program that's $7,500 of money, free money, for safety concerns. So individuals that are aging in place at home, that you might need a ramp, you might need some type of, something changed in the home to make it more, a bathroom, to make it more safe. So that's $7,500 just right there to help for safety. And then they offer large sums of money, $20,000, again, income qualified, but at a very reduced rate of 1% over 30 years. And so it's opportunities for individuals to take care of some of these things for really very little. And then working also with Habitat for Humanity, they offer as well $5,000 grants and help individuals that in the home with projects as well. So those are all, again, where we can now address a little bit easier as we talk about some of these things.
A few years ago, those USDA grants, we usually get a press release when those become available. Those USDA grants kind of went pretty quick. We were talking about this a little bit ago, and you told me that the times have kind of changed with that, and there seems to be more money
I
allocated.
think you're talking about the CDBG grants, the county, the community development. I think that's what we talked about.
Because they come from the USDA, don't they?
No,
they come
those are separate,
All right.
and those are funds that we have a certain allotment of money. And you're right, people contact us, and then we work with MSA. Then they have to go through MSA, talk to them and apply, and then you're given. They come and actually they set it up for you and have someone look at the home and what repairs need to be done. That is just money that you can use for those repairs. Then once the repairs are done, you owe nothing. When you sell the house, you have to give that money back,
Right.
and it goes back into the fund, and then someone else can use it again. Kind of a cool concept. The USDA is something different. We have not worked with this before. Of course, there's paperwork, but like I said, the Fond du Lac office is very interested in working with us, and they come right out here, help individuals one-on-one, and will basically help fill out the paperwork and get it going for individuals. So that's a new opportunity for us here, and it doesn't have, this is how much you are allotted, it doesn't have, at least right now, it's very, very untapped. That's what I've been told.
Okay, the USDA grant.
The USDA. So we want to use that as much as we can. So we definitely want to get the word out there that people can be looking at this. And it's also an opportunity for new home buyers. They have some opportunities through low interest loans and types of things through the USDA. So.
Okay. The community development block grants, then what types of repairs would those be more geared toward? Are those are kind of more general applicable repairs?
There's quite a big list that can be used for. I know that they do a lot of outside repairs, but you can also have indoor repairs done as well with those funds, I believe.
And that's the one where there's a certain allotment.
Correct.
And that's kind of a wait list,
Yeah,
if I'm not
and
mistaken.
right now, there are funds available, but yes, once they're gone and used up, then we have to wait for those funds to come back in again.
There are funds available
There
right
are
now.
funds
Okay.
available right now.
The community development block grant.
Mhm.
So there are some avenues for addressing some of these issues, it seems to be
Right,
what you're suggesting.
and so that's one group of individuals that we want to make sure that we're helping in that way. But the other piece is that we just have, and this is anywhere, there's just a small percentage, right, of either individuals or, like the individual talked about, business or landlords that aren't interested in really making change in this area. And so that's why the change in the fines is really what we're interested in.
Now there had been was it a fine or was there always a fee in place for the inspection after?
There was a reinspection fee. Right.
Fee. And that hasn't changed. It's still a $100 reinspection fee
Right.
the first time.
The first time, right.
But what has changed?
So we still do have that. And like I said, all of these things are already in place. So we're already doing these things. It's just that for individuals that are those problem individuals, that we want to have something that has a little bit more teeth. So I think it goes up to $400 at the tail end of it in their fines, 1, 2, 3, and then $400 for reassessment fees. So that's just something so that some of these individuals that own property, live in Milwaukee, aren't really invested in our community and are using property and just taking everything out of it, not putting anything back into it. We need to have something that motivates them a little bit more. Again, we could use the $100 fee that we have right now, and we kind of work on these things as we're going, but we want to have these things in place before we start readdressing them, because we just feel like right now it's not as effective as what it should be.
So just so I understand the fees, because I'm kind of a little bit foggy on it, because it seems like it can go either way. So the first inspection is $100. First reinspection is $100.
So for an individual that, let's just say, like we were talking about, someone that, has got financial difficulty, you come to that person and you say, this is what we need you to do because your front porch is falling down, it's not safe. And that individual's, having financial difficulty. So it's that conversation first and finding that out. And then the inspector says, okay, if you work with me, here's a timetable, we'll help you. Let's set you up with, someone from one of these grant opportunities and we'll work with you. For an individual that says, I'm not taking care of that and I don't want to and I don't have to, then the inspector says, I'll be coming back in, I don't know, whatever length of time it is, a week or two or whatever.
7 to 10 days.
Okay, 7 to 10 days,
Right.
Thank you. And he says, okay, I had to come back and you are not working with us, that's a $100 fee. Okay. And then subsequently, well, if we have to continue to keep doing that and covering his time each time, then it's going to go up because that individual is not, they're called compliance ordinances, right? Because and then they're not complying.
So the first time they're assessed or given the fee, it would be $100, and the second time it would be $200.
Correct.
So now you're in for $300, right?
Right.
It's not that it's $200
Right.
in total. It's and then the third one would be $300. So now you're in for $600.
Right.
Okay, that was kind of where I was unclear. I wasn't sure if the third time you're only in for $300.
Okay.
But the third time would be $300. So okay.
Right.
And then the fourth, but then it's capped at $400. But you're still up to $1,000 for that fourth visit by that point, and it goes up in $400 increments.
So again, for individuals that aren't, and especially again, landlords that aren't interested in working with us, when I talk to the police chief and he tells me, I've been over in some of these apartments and it's terrible, and he's just upset on the way the conditions of people that they're living in. We don't think that's acceptable. That's not certainly a badge that we want to wear, that we believe that that's okay in Beaver Dam. And so this is just a way that hopefully it'll start to convey that to individuals that, again, they're not really interested in our community. They're not, they're not invested here. They're just using what they're taking and that's it. And so we want that fixed.
So hypothetically, if somebody has an issue with their property and they talk to the building inspector and they work something out, as you were saying before, and they discover that either contractors aren't available for 3-4 months or something like that, as long as it's okay with the building inspector, that scenario would be
Absolutely.
okay.
He does that right now.
Okay.
He's already got people that he's working with on that right now. And so it's the same situation. He's been doing that. And that's what we want. We absolutely do want that. We know that most people want to do what's right and they're taking care of their property. So as long as that communication is open and we've got some type of, that we're working together and we know that things, we're working in the right direction together, that's what we're concerned about. We're not worried. The biggest problem is not talking about that. It's individuals that they don't want to do anything and take care of any of the property. And so that's what we're trying to really take care of.
Let's talk about the enforcement component a little bit here.
Yeah.
It goes beyond the building inspector?
Yes, and that's one issue. It's really about the inspector can't do it all. And so, we kind of talked about the yard maintenance already. Now, we talked about that before in why we moved the grass level, I guess you would say, down to 6 inches instead of the 8, because of by the time everyone's notified and everything, it gets to be a foot. People that live out in the country, again, you don't have neighbors. you can let it go longer. It's not an issue. But when you have a neighbor and, we think it's important to be good neighbors to each other. Again, what it attracts as far as not only varmints and things, but who comes into our community and thinks they can take advantage of, crime here and the drug scene. So all of that appearance matters. So anyway, I do think that, we're looking at all of those aspects.
So law enforcement would be involved in issuing citations or?
Yeah, thank you for getting me back on track on that. I forgot kind of where the question went, but that's my point in saying Parks, Weed Commissioner takes care of the lawns. John takes care of the building piece. The police department has to be a part of this in looking at the parking situation. So while we understand police department has a lot of tasks that they're responsible for, and it's not something that someone would say, wow, that's taking away from other police work. It's an important piece, again, that we're thinking about deterrence and the appearance of our community, and then all these little pieces, while it might seem minor, all of these little pieces add up to prevention of other activities happening in this community that we don't want here, quite frankly. And so it helps the police department in the end to be a part of that. But we need them to be a part of the car maintenance, or car part of it, to be able to take care of that, right? So we have multiple areas that are all working together and meeting and talking about how to roll that out and do that together as a team.
Again, we've been talking about the ordinances that address some aesthetic and other nuisance issues, property issues directed toward residential and commercial properties. You mentioned that industrial properties are above and beyond this, but may be addressed going forward. Are there any other ordinances that you have in mind going forward that are along these lines?
Nope, this is basically what we were looking at over the past several months. I agree with the caller, and I guess, like I've said, I've kind of talked about and asked about those types of how we can look at more commercial types of follow through on things. The city attorney's on board, the inspectors on board. I think I think we're all thinking the same direction. It's just we have to look at what's legal, and certainly, and we're not trying to run anybody out of town. It's more that individuals, again, that really aren't invested in our community and aren't taking care of property, that we're really trying to encourage to be good community partners. So, but that's something I guess I would want to just follow up on myself. And then, but going forward, this is basically what we're looking at for ordinances.
Second reading, up or down vote expected on Monday on these ordinances. Not a whole lot on the agenda for Monday, but there's a couple of things early in the agenda regarding police and fire matters and some of the situations that we've seen unfolding in Beaver Dam, specifically in the months of March and April. Some emergency responders are going to be recognized. We're going to see members of the public that are recognized. Your thought about these? You've got these four bystanders who help pull a gentleman out of a burning car. You've got fire and police officials who responded to a fatal fire, a fatal explosion, and worked hard around the clock on some of those issues. Your thoughts about some of those other items that may be addressed on the agenda on Monday?
Yeah, well, those are really the fun things to address, and saying how much we appreciate individuals that are working for our community every day in public service, and then also our community members that step up and be a good neighbor. I mean, I guess that's the whole message really too, right? And that I guess everything that we're looking at is kind of looking at how we're treating each other and helping each other and making sure that everyone is treated well. So that'll be a fun part of the meeting, is that we get to actually have those individuals come in and be a part of that and give them our kudos.
All right. Well, it may be about a minimum of 6 weeks. If we're not able to catch in July, it could be 10 weeks, 2.5 months before we start. I hope we're able to sit down with you in July.
Craig, how would you ever go on with
It-
not
it-
having seen, you know.
It will be. We do like to give our listeners this opportunity to chat
Yeah.
with you, and it is good to get insight into
It
things
is.
that are going on in city. What has it been, a year now for you?
Yeah,
2 years.
a little over a year.
This is year 1.
Yeah, April.
You
No, I do
started
like coming in, sitting
year
down and
2 now.
talking to you. So
Well, we
you do a
appreciate
nice
that.
job. Thank you, and I appreciate that and getting the word out. So it's a good way to talk to people.
We'll look forward to that next opportunity to sit down with Beaver Dam Mayor Becky Gluen. In the meantime, again, thanks for joining us on the program today.
Yep, thanks for having me.
That's going to do it for Community Comment.
What is it that I always say? If you're looking for great deals on liquor, always shop Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly first. Right now, the Pig has barefoot wine in the 750s for $4.99. That's holiday pricing. And Chi-Chi's ready to drink, normally $10.99, on sale for $9.99, and they come with a $7 rebate. That means all those great varieties of Chi-Chi ready to drinks are just $12.98 after rebate. Where? At Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly, of course, on the beautiful east side of Beaver Dam.
Are you looking for a nice restaurant in Beaver Dam? Then I invite you to come visit Old Hickory Golf Club. Hi, this is Mark Bergman, owner of Old Hickory. We've worked hard to provide the best food, the best service, and the best atmosphere in the area. With our Tuesday night chef-prepared pasta bar, live music on our terrace every Thursday in the summer, for our Friday night fish fry, we offer something for everyone. Give us a call at 920-887-7179 and make your reservation at Old Hickory. That's 920-887-7179.
Are you planning a building project? If so, now is the perfect time to secure your financing. Hi, this is Ryan Martin, loan officer and branch manager with American Bank. With our team of friendly and knowledgeable lenders, American Bank's great construction loan rates, and the ability to meet with me after regular business hours, even on a Saturday or Sunday, American Bank is your construction financing partner. For more information, call me at 920-356-9300 or visit AmericanBankBD.com. American Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
In a lawsuit, a little extra liability protection can go a long way. I'm Kevin Carnine of the Kevin Carnine Agency, LLC. A personal umbrella liability policy from American Family Insurance offers $1 million or more of coverage, over and above the limits on your auto and home policies. And it's affordable. Interested? Call Kevin Carnine with the Kevin Carnine Agency, LLC at 920-887-9700 today.
American Family Insurance.